Ready?
Good.
The meeting of the Plaquemines Council as sole governing authority of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District is now called to order. The machines are open for roll call.
Councilmember Edwards.
Let the record reflect that all 9 commissioners are present. First item on the agenda.
Item 2, executive session. There is none. Item 3, status report by the Executive Port Director.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. We're happy to provide progress from...
She's getting it.
I'm getting it.
Are you getting it? Okay, so we're happy to provide progress since our last Port Commission meeting. First off, we actually will be closing on the Popish building tomorrow. All of the documentation from the port side is actually complete. So that's one thing off of our agenda. This week, we actually posted our policies for human resources, accounting, finance, and purchasing on our shared file network. We're rewriting our ferry and our rescue boat procedures, policies right now. And what we're actually producing a continuous improvement system, and the next step for us is to start augmenting low-level work instructions and procedures to tie into those policies. As we officially enter hurricane season, we're hosting a hurricane preparedness and cybersecurity meeting on the 5th of June in Metairie for Plaquemines Port staff. Any commissioners wishing to join, you're more than welcome to do so. We did participate in our pre-audit meeting on May the 14th with Cam Netter, and we plan to complete our audit on schedule by the end of June 2024. I'd like to report that the ferry landing repair will be released in this month. The pre-solicitation mandatory meeting occurred on May the 16th with the bid opening date of May the 28th at 2 p.m. We did receive another modification from the Corps of Engineers on the amount of riprap that we have to lay, but that did not change the scope of the contract, and our goal is to complete repairs on schedule by the first quarter of 2025. We will be aiming for January of 2025. And we will be providing regular updates, Reverend Edwards, and we will make sure that you're getting updates on a weekly basis. And we want to do that because we know you get a lot of questions about the ferries. DOTD did finalize negotiations for the ferry landing replacement with Hardesty and Handover, which is good news to us. And just as a reminder, we have the $18.5 million grant to replace the Point Lahash ferry landings. And it's estimated it'll take about 2 months to actually execute that contract. We're waiting on Pelican Marine to provide man-hours under the contract award for the new ferry build, and just as a reminder, we were successful in getting $25.6 million in grant funding for that new build ferry boat, which will be an electric diesel ferry boat. After our last meeting last month, the port started running 2 ferries during the rush hour in the evenings, and what we found is this is indeed impactful. I mean, this extra service is costing the port about an additional $26,000 per month, but the public benefit is it is reducing the ferry line and it's actually increasing safety there at the ferry landing. So we're very happy about that. Now, I did report last week that the Chalmette Ferry landing will be closed next month while their ferry goes in for mandatory Coast Guard inspection or Coast Guard ship repairs. So at that time, the port will be prepared to run dual ferries in the morning during the rush hour as well as in the evening, and there is going to be a cost impact, and we will send the Port Commission an estimate of what that's going to look like. And then I would also like to say we are introducing today language for non-parish residents to actually start paying. So that is going to be introduced today by Reverend Edwards, and we have had some discussions about that language. The Plaquemines Pride is scheduled for mandatory dry docking in September for 6 to 8 weeks, and that's because its certificate, Coast Guard certificate, expires at the end of September. So that RFP will be advertised around July the 17th, and the contract letting date will be around August the 14th, and we're anticipating starting September that she will go in the yards. And when the Pride goes in the yards, we will be running 2 ferries to try to pick up the slack. Bridges Group did present the 2024 Master Plan preview to the port staff, to commissioners, to some of our legislators, to the parish government, and to some of our key stakeholders last week. We believe the plan was received well. Anybody who missed the preview, I have it set where I'm ready. You just guys let me know, and we will make sure that we give a presentation to you. I'd also like to point out that Dr. Scott's economic impact analysis for both the container terminal and Venture Global is complete, and I will provide a copy, and both of those are very impactful. We also continue forwarding our milestones for the container terminal, including positive discussions with Piano Keys landowners and improving the process for Peters Road, the invoicing process for Peters Road bypass. And I would like to say that the Jefferson Parish contractor that's running that project is in the final hours of submitting a major grant that will be awarded later this year. Lastly, we're very excited to start the rebranding soon and confident that the renewed communications of Plaquemines Port's strategic geography and the pronunciation pronunciation lesson, I should say, of Plaquemines, you know, to the global market. We think that they will generate increased demand for business and economic development for the port and for the parish. Thank you. That concludes the port's updates.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Any comments from the floor?
On
Mr. Henry, state your name and address. Even though we all know it, we need to do it for the record.
the Henry Belcher, on the Scott report, or that study going to be made public? Well,
I didn't get the.
you said you had an economic impact study.
Oh, that's
Residential.
yeah.
And,
That's a good question. So the economic impact analysis will be rolled into the master plan. That will be completed by the end of the month, and it will be a public document. So we will make it available to the public, and it will go on our website.
All right, one more. The time that the Chalmette Ferry is out, and we increase our capacity at Belchase, are we going to be compensated by the RTA for our expenses?
Mr. Henry, Mr. Tillotson addressed that. They're doing an introduction at this meeting to talk about putting tolls on non-residents.
No. I'm talking
RTA is
about individuals.
The RTA is not compensating us. No, they're not.
That's putting money that people shouldn't have to pay.
Any other comments from the floor? From the table, Commissioner Jurisic?
I was doing like the rest of the, if they got any more
No,
comments
they
from the other.
Oh, you guys?
Oh, that's it. That's it for our updates.
All right, yes, I got a question, and it's one that's really bothering the heck out of me.
Okay.
It's about the Harbor Maintenance Trust Fund. I've been sitting on a shipyard slip in Empire for months now. I thought it was out for bid. Come to find out, the money's not where it needs to be doled out. I got fingers pointing at you, Jalen. I tried calling you a couple times. I didn't receive a call back. I'm hearing the same thing from a few other people that tried to call you. You got, the engineers pointing the finger at you. I don't know if you're pointing the finger at them, but this money has to get in place because these people were promised this job would have been bid out by now. And it's an emergency repair. You don't know how much the people depend on the shipyard in Empire. And we condemned it out of the safety of our employees. And we need to move on this. If that money's available and it's out there, and we need to get it, and we need to get on top of this. Every year, there should be a due date that we get this money. It should be in your calendar. Okay, this money's available today. Let's get it tomorrow. Let's move it now. I don't know if we still got 2.5 years worth of money sitting out there we didn't even collect yet. We need to collect money that's available to us ASAP when it's available. I need this money yesterday. I expect some action on this, and I expect it soon because I'm really fed up, because I'm the one answering to the people out there, not y'all. I'm the one. And I'm getting beat up. I know Commissioner Konovich is, about this situation. These fishermen are ready to get their boats. We missed the prime time of year for them to get their boats ready because I thought the money was available. But apparently there's some miscommunication. Get the communication done. We need this. I yield.
Before I go to the next commission, I know Director Tillotson, you and I spoke about putting this as a policy in the manual, and we were going to make sure that this would not reoccur, and we had, as part of a standing operating procedure, who does what, when, and timeline out, so we don't repeat this. Would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, that's correct. We do have Mr. Tommy Surpass actually writing a procedure in our office, which will be done within the next week. That's really going to outline what the process is, what the dates are, to make sure that we get that in. I will tell you, I am a little remiss. I didn't realize that we were waiting on some emergency money, and I will tell you that I will make this a high priority to make sure we get this done, Commissioner.
Commissioner Gouy, you're next.
I'll yield. I want to see if we get an answer to Mitch thing. I didn't get a response from the Pope to what Mitch was saying.
So I will make it a high priority. I did not realize that we're actually waiting for some emergency funds. I will make it a priority. And we did talk about this in our last port meeting, and we are working on putting together a procedure that will be used in the future to make sure that we're allocating those funds in a timely manner.
Go to mic control. Council, mic on. Mic control.
It's on.
It's on? All right. There was supposed to be $1.4 million sitting in there right now. That's enough money to get this bidding process started. And I don't know why we didn't do it. Now, if it's the engineers working on it, let me know. I want to get to the bottom of it. Who's dragging their feet on this? And that's what I want to know. I want the answer. The finger pointing this way, I want the answer. And that's what I want from y'all, the answer. Are y'all holding it? Did they come to you for it? If not, I know we discussed it. We passed something, with previous meetings to get this money in place and ready to go. And that's, I yield.
I will be looking for clarification on that this evening and calling you this evening. I'll be there with you, so while I'm driving down to South Plaque, I will be getting that information, and we will respond.
Yeah. I just kicked you out, dang it.
I got it. You're on.
Yep. Tell me again the date that the Chalmette Ferry will be out.
We believe it's going to be the month of June. That might, the actual dates may slip a little bit, but it's probably going to be 4 to 6 weeks. Jalen, does that sound right?
Correct. It'll be around 4 to 6 weeks. It's probably going to be around June 1st.
That's good. Thank you. I yield.
Want to add on to Mr. Jurisic. I mean, I know it's a high priority now, but that was what, 3-4 months ago we did that? I'm like, if we voted on it or talked about it, it's high priority. I mean, we knew it was our operation. I don't know why we didn't have a procedure in place already on, like Mitch said, we get the money this day, this is what happens, but, I mean, I feel your pain type deal, but, I mean, we got to get this, I mean, it's just unacceptable. So I yield.
And one of the other issues we have is the parish plays a role in this too. So the parish has to go out there and essentially identify that it's there, initiate the process, then the port gets it, then the port has to do whatever you do with it, then get back with the parish, and the parish has to in turn do a report. So it's a dual action, and we've got to develop an SOP that's timely and in conjunction with the parish. It's published to the commissioners so we can hold everyone accountable. And I don't mean accountable in a bad way, just so we're all tracking, because there's a lot going on. So someone like Commissioner Jurasich, who's, is really watching this, can say, hey, the date is tomorrow, and help cue each other and help each other out. So you said you'll make this a high priority. Director Tillotson, this needs to be the #1 priority for Jalen right now, because our fishermen are hurting.
We will be calling Keith when we leave the meeting today.
Thank you, sir. Next item on the agenda.
Item 4, bids and advertisements. There are none. 5, introduction of ordinances and resolutions.
We have a few of them, and they're all for Commissioner Champagne. An ordinance to implement a $1 toll to all non-Plaquemines Parish residents for the use of the ferries operated by the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District 5-year capital improvement plan, water booster station project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. A resolution authorizing the execution of a master goods and services agreement and riders to proceed with Phase 3 and Phase 4 of the 11-mile rail extension project and funding the additional cost for the project and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. A resolution directing the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District Executive Director Charles D. Tillotson to enter into a lease option agreement for approximately 584 acres of real property shown in Exhibit A, located in Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, Venture Global. A resolution authorizing the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District to enter into an agreement with the State of Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development for the transfer of funds legislatively appropriated under Act 447 of the 2023 regular session of the Louisiana Legislature and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. A resolution authorizing Charles D. Tillotson, Executive Director of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, to enter into a professional service agreement for the purposes of engineering and design services with LADOTD and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. And that's all of the introductions.
Kim, I'd like to move on to item 7A.
7A1, the
7A1.
suspension.
Yep.
A resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of not exceeding $3 million Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District Dock and Wharf Facilities Revenue Bonds Series 2024, approving the form and authorizing the execution and delivery of an indenture or indentures of trust to secure one or more of said series of bonds, authorizing the appropriate officers of the issuer to execute certain of the aforementioned instruments and all other documents and certificates deemed necessary in connection therewith, requesting and authorizing the authentication and directing the delivery and application of the proceeds of said bonds, approving the form and directing the execution and delivery on behalf of the issuer of the bond purchase agreement or agreements and/or term sheets or commitment letters for one or more of said series of bonds, which will set forth the terms and conditions under which said series of bonds are being sold, authorizing and approving the preparation and distribution of one or more preliminary limited offering memoranda and one or more final limited offering memoranda relating to one or more of said series of bonds, approving various financing and other documents, and providing for other matters in connection with the foregoing. Commissioner Champagne.
I'd like to seek suspension and offer for vote. So, yeah, second? Second by Commissioner Jurasich. Machines are open for suspension of the rules. And it passes 9-0.
A resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of not exceeding $3 million Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District Dock and Wharf Facilities Revenue Bonds, Series 2024, approving the form and authorizing the execution and delivery of an indenture or indentures of trust to secure one or more of said series of bonds, authorizing the appropriate officers of the issuer to execute certain of the aforementioned instruments and all other documents and certificates deemed necessary in connection therewith, requesting and authorizing the authentication and directing the delivery and application of the proceeds of said bonds, approving the form and directing the execution and delivery on behalf of the issuer of the bond purchase agreement or agreements and/or term sheets or commitment letters for one or more of said series of bonds, which will set forth the terms and conditions under which said series of bonds are being sold, authorizing and approving the preparation and distribution of one or more preliminary limited offering memoranda and one or more final limited offering memoranda relating to one or more of said series of bonds, approving various financing and other documents, and providing for other matters in connection with the foregoing. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer and ask for a second. Second. Seconded by Commissioner LaFrance. Any comments from the floor? Please state your name and your address.
Robert Thomas, 8207 Highway 23, Belle Chase. Commissioner Champagne, can you give us just a brief explanation on this? I've had a lot of questions. I couldn't give an answer. Could you just, a brief explanation, please?
Obviously, you want to listen to Kim read this.
Thanks a lot.
I'll get Kim to read it a third time. No, I'm just kidding. No, essentially, they're just using our name to, it's an agreement that's done where they work with the government to get these bonds. We're doing one right now with IMT, we're in year 29 of 30. I believe we have, Mr. Tilson, who else do we have one with?
That's the other one, so
But-
those are the only two.
And NOLA Oil, but I'd like to we have a NOLA Oil rep here, and she could speak to it and tell you exactly what they're doing.
That's what I'm waiting for. Thank you very much.
Please state your name and address, please.
Yes, Meredith Hathorn, 19440 North Muirfield Circle in Baton Rouge. I am bond counsel to y'all at the request of NOLA Terminal. And so this is, as the chairman noted, you are lending your name to the issuance of these bonds in order for the company to access the tax-exempt market. That allows the company to have a lower interest rate on their bonds. So the documents are very specific that you have no liability with respect to these bonds. They are solely the obligation of the company, and that we are not pledging the full faith and credit of the parish or any of the port, and that, again, the liability is solely on the company, payable from the revenues of the company at NOLA Terminal. And we have a few other items that are being pledged, including a mortgage, and also assignment of revenues, security agreement. And again, the resolution provides for the issuance of the bonds with certain interest rates. We have the limits in the resolution, that's in section 1. And then obviously, because you are lending your name, you issue the bonds and you loan the proceeds to the company, and the company agrees to repay them. So there are a lot of documents that are involved, as you can imagine, in an issue this size. And so we authorize in this resolution all of those documents that will be signed by your chairman and the council secretary, and also the executive director, and authorize them to do whatever is necessary in order to get these bonds issued. Right now, we have a closing set for the first week of June. There was just a site visit on Monday in which potential investors come and look at it, at the site and the project. And the other thing is that these investors will be signing an investment letter that says that they are aware of their risk and that they are willing to take those risks when they purchase the bonds. And I'd be happy to answer any other questions for you.
Did you mention International Marine Terminal? What?
Sure. So again, 1984, International Marine Terminals did the same thing. It's a dock and wharf bond, again, eligible for tax-exempt financing. And throughout the years, we have actually come to you a few times to get an amendment to the documents or just do routine things. But as you can tell, those IMT bonds are not on your financial statements. You do not have any responsibility. And we have had the same way of dealing with these bonds as that.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from the floor?
So this is a new dock. This is a new dock.
So the NOLA terminal facility has actually been built?
It's been built, yeah,
Some
because
of it, but
I
it's
remember
still-
when it came to get the money a couple years ago.
We didn't actually do the bonds at
You
that
di-
point. This
you
is actually
didn't?
the first bond issue, so they had a taxable bridge loan that they're being reimbursed to refinance that and do other improvements there. It takes a long time for these types of projects because the project needs to get up and running.
I understand that.
You come to the mic, just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's worthy of an expert.
Yeah, so again, projects like this take a long time to do, and so they were able to get an interim bridge loan at a taxable rate, and so now that the project is actually showing that it's a viable and feasible project, investors are willing to purchase these bonds for a lot longer term than a bridge loan would be. Now is the time for us to actually get the final approval, and I think I told you all way back then that I would be back once we got the deal, when it was really ready to be baked, and that's the time. Okay?
And before we leave, I want to apologize because I know we seem like we rushed this, but we did have this, and I take responsibility because I didn't check that it was read in the introductions last month. So everything was done in a timely manner. So it's on the chairman for missing that. So we made sure we expedited and put you guys first. So any other questions from the table? From the commissioners? Machines are open. And it passes 9-0.
Thank you so much.
Kim, we can go back to the normal order of business, and before we start, I'd like to cover items that will be deferred. So if y'all prepared to copy, we're going to defer item 6B, 6C, 6D, 6E, 6F, 6J, and 6P. Item 6G will be withdrawn. 6G, 6 Gulf. Does anybody need me to go through that again?
P.
Okay, I'll repeat again. For deferment, item 6 Bravo, item 6 Charlie. Well, I thought it was unclear. 6B, 6C, 6D, 6E, 6F, 6J, 6P. Withdrawn will be 6G. G is in golf. All right, so any questions? Kim, let's move to the next item, please.
Item H, a resolution approving and authorizing Brian Champagne, Port Chairman, and Charles D. Tillotson, Port Executive Director, to execute a Louisiana compliance questionnaire to Camnetter and Company, CPAs, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
So offer. Second by Commissioner Schultz. Any questions from the floor? From the commissioners? Machines are open. And the item passes 9-0. Next item.
I, a resolution authorizing the Port Executive Director, Charles Tillotson, for and on behalf of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District to name and accept the proposal of the Plaquemines Gazette as the official journal for the Plaquemines Parish Council as the sole governing authority of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
So offered. Ask for a second. Second. Second by Commissioner Newsom. Any questions from the floor? From the commission? Machines are open. And the item passes 7 yeas, 2 nays. Next item.
An ordinance authorizing, this is K, an ordinance authorizing the Executive Director of the Port, Charles Tillotson, to provide funding from Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District for a collaborative market study with the 4 other deepwater ports in Louisiana and to amend the 2024 Port Harbor and Terminal District operating expenditure budget and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
So offered and ask for a second. Second by Commissioner Gui. And Director Tillotson, I'd like you to speak to this because there are some questions of why this is so important. I know the digest covers it, but I think it merits a brief discussion.
Yes, I think we all remember in 2023, there was a lot of legislation out there about, master plans and market studies and strategic plans. And at that time, we actually started meeting with the other 4 deepwater ports because there was a perception, and it was primarily in the media, but I think it was our legislators as well, that we as the 5 deepwater ports on the lower Mississippi River do not communicate well with one another. Since then, we have been having regular meetings with the other 4 deepwater ports. We are collaborating. The Plaquemines Port has also had a couple of meetings with the Port of New Orleans, and there was a perception that we don't talk, and so we've really been trying to break that perception. But one of the things that came out of these series of meetings is the need for us to put together a market study for the 5 deepwater ports as a whole, because as a region, we represent about 500 million tons of freight to the global market. So we're really the biggest and most impactful region of importing and exporting by ocean in the world. And there's never really been a major marketing effort that came out of the state of Louisiana to say, hey, let's look at the lower 5 deepwater ports. And there was an article that I actually forwarded to commissioners earlier this week, Journal of Commerce. That was another collaborative effort where Ms. Wagner actually worked with the other ports, with their communications departments, and put together that collaborative piece. So this is just really showing that we are collaborating, as a port system in the state of Louisiana. And I will say, we did a market study last year, as you guys remember. That market study really focused on Plaquemines, right? And it focused on everything that we handle today, plus what we would like to handle with containers in the future. And this study will actually focus on everything that moves through the market, but it will not be as comprehensive as the plan that we completed. So I'm open to any questions.
Commissioner Schultz?
Do we want to allow public first?
I thought we did. Any comments from the public? Thank you.
I'm sorry, Robert Thomas, PABI. In the short, Commissioner Gui got that. In short, PABI supports this. The Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, along with the ports of St. Bernard, New Orleans, South Louisiana, and Baton Rouge, cumulatively account for the largest movement of cargo tonnage in the Western Hemisphere, perhaps even the world. State leaders believe additional economic benefits can be achieved by increased collaboration by the 5 ports, beginning with a market study. PABI recently expressed its support for continued growth and success of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District. We believe participation in this study is beneficial and helpful for all ports involved here. We encourage the Port Commission to adopt this ordinance resolution. Thank you very much.
Any other comments from the floor? From the commissioners, Commissioner Schultz.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to try to be as quick as possible. I know we're on time crunch. You sent the, I made my concerns earlier this week, or last week. You sent an email and says, oh, DOTD, LED's pushing this, or it's going to use this. Nowhere in this agreement is DOTD, LED. It's World Trade Center Organization at Greater New Orleans, Inc. So I don't agree with that. We spent, I don't know how much on this document, which I don't understand why we can't turn this over and say, here's ours that we just did in October of 23. Instead, we spent money on that, $375,000 on our master plan at this point, another $26,000 on this document, on the economic impact study. I don't understand why they can't use our numbers. You also go into saying that, well, I see nothing good from this, because even if they don't shine negative light on us, they're going to promote a certain port elsewhere, and it's going to basically be targeted towards them. That's my view. I don't care if I'm the only one that has that view. You also say we're leading from the front. If we participate in this, the master plan, that's leading from the front. That's available to the public already. I mean, most of it's already available to the public. That's leading from the front. We're not hiding our stuff. We're giving it out there. So I don't see, if we don't participate, it's still going to happen. We know it's going to happen. They're going to go right back to this document and pull the numbers anyway, probably, for us. You also say that that the firm that was hired, we trust them, they're going to do it, but then also you say we need to participate because we need to make sure the numbers are accurate for Port of New Orleans. So to me, it's contradicting. We trust them, but then we're saying we're not going to trust them if we're not involved. So I can't support this after we spent money on this, the master plan, everything else, when all that can be used for this study here, and basically who's pushing this. If we knew last year, you saying this came from legislation last year? If we knew last year that we were going to be doing this, then why did we do this one? I get this is more for us. We're here for Plaquemines Port. This is more important to me than this 5 Deepwater Port, because this tells us what we need to know. And the master plan tells us what we need to know. I yield.
Yeah, those are all very good points that you raised, and we did, the second meeting that we actually had with the other 4 Deepwater ports, we actually provided a copy of our master plan, of our market study to those other ports. But again, our market study, when you really look at the data and drill down, it's really focused on Plaquemines Parish. Okay. All right. Okay.
Commissioner Edwards?
Yeah, I came in late, but Schultz was basically, like he's psychic, reading my mind. I had the same concern, because it seemed like to me if we knew about this a while back, once they did the comprehensive report, we could have took our stuff out of their stuff and used it. To me, I don't understand how they cannot take what we got and use it. Say, oh, we got one, here's put ours in yours. So to me, it's just too much. It's just too much of money to me. And I understand that we need to be a player in the game, But I think at our expense, I don't think we should be doing this at our expense. So I'm totally agreeing with everything that Commissioner Schultz said.
Commissioner Gui?
When the discussions first came out about this, my initial thoughts were the same as Commissioner Schultz and Commissioner Edwards. And I guess at that time I was practicing dollars instead of cents, because as I thought about it, this is going to happen anyway. And I want to be at the table when it happens. I'm biased. I think the container port location is best in Plaquemines Parish. So did the millennial study of the 1990s. And other things to back us up, that this is the spot. And we all know that when you look at the 5 Deepwater ports, Plaquemines is probably in the minority as far as voting for where the container port should be. Not being at the table, I feel that we're not going to have any input as far as the direction of where the study should go. We won't be there to validly question some of the data that may be produced or not produced that should be produced. So my thinking has definitely changed, and I think if we don't do this, it's going to be a mistake, because we'll have no excuses. And then I'm going to close with this. Truthfully, where should the container port go? Where should it go? Depends who you talk to, right? This may be the avenue that will validate to the 5 Deepwater ports who are providing funding for this that Plaquemines is the site. And it'll answer a lot of questions. The Plaquemines container port has been called a lot of things, including a pipe dream. Well, who's to say? I think this is an opportunity for us to validate, is it or is it not? Because if it's not, we need to move elsewhere. We need to focus our direction elsewhere. But if it is, then I'll know that we're right on track. So I'm hoping that we can get the support for this today, and we'll just take it as it comes. I yield.
Commissioner McCarty?
I don't know that I've ever felt, maybe it's because I'm not feeling well tonight, but I feel emotionally torn over this one this vote, because I realize that $60,000 is a lot of money for us when we get down to it. You know, we could use that money for other things. And we, like Chris and Reverend Edwards have said, we have put a lot of money into our own studies. And we have not been able to talk with Matthews, is that his name, that's going to do the study? We don't know what he's going to concentrate on. And on the other hand, I'm aware that we're doing a rebranding, and we've also asked the governor and the legislators not to do something which would hurt us, which is to make a decision that would bind us by saying that one port is better than us. And I wonder, just from a psychological standpoint, if we didn't participate, would that make them feel as though they wanted to be a little more negative toward us? So I feel almost held hostage to do this, and I don't want to do it, you know. But I understand, I'm just going to leave it at that right now, because I understand we're not going to move on this, so I'll let the chairman respond.
Thank you for those comments. Hearing what everybody has to say, we're going to defer this item. Likewise, I want to defer everything on the rest of the agenda. And the reason why, and for those of you who don't know, there's a graduation in South Plaquemines. That's why the other council members have left. They need to be here to discuss some of these other items because they are important, but so is the future of our kids and these young men and women who are changing their lives by graduating today. We need to be there. So I think that we can wait another 2 weeks to handle this business. We got our most important things done, but we owe it to our residents in the low end of the parish to be there and stand up for them. So with that, I motion to defer everything. I don't think I need to make a motion on that, but motion to adjourn. Seconded by everybody, I think. Seconded by Commissioner Newsom. So machines are open for adjournment.
Oh, sorry, verbal yes.
And it passes 6 in favor and 3 not voting. Let the record state that the Plaquemines Parish Port Auburn Terminal District meeting for May 28th ended at 5:28 p.m.